snakes and airplanes. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Anybody? No, I'm taking it off. Sorry, guys. It's been a little crazy around here. How are you? I am so excited to see your faces. Give me just a minute because I put everybody in grid view. And for those of you who have never done that before, you can find your little squares up there by your people so that you can see their lovely faces. I just wanted to see all of you today, and I know we are going to have people jumping in and out. One of the things you may find in here is that you see Hillary somewhere on your grid, and you should see Sean somewhere on your grid, and they are both kind of helping me mind the chat. If you have technical issues, if you have questions, put them in there and they will try to keep up with that for us. I know that some of you have been extremely busy, and some of you have felt a little out of place. Y'all's band names are cracking me up. I know that part of this day is a little bit about some self-care, just a little bit about us seeing each other. And if you have something you would like to talk about, or a question specific to what's going on with the crazy at school or with your kids or at home, I noticed several people said things like, I'm irritated, or I am tired of this, or get me out of here, I need a break. But we also had some that are chilled and refreshed, and that's pretty good too. Your kids are feeling the same way. And I know that we have registered today. And Kathy, you say you can't hear me. Everybody else hear me? Okay, so Sean, you want to type in there with Kathy and see if you can give her some support on that one. One of these things that I know is that people have said, well, how do I know what my kids are doing? And people are posting a lot of things on television and on media and showing us things like a teacher, and you may have seen this, y'all can give me this nod moment, who was on a Zoom with her kids, and a kid had a really big breakdown. And that evening, the teacher drove to the house and sat out at the end of the driveway in the street and read the kid a book from up on the porch, because it was an elementary kid. And the parent was just like, my students needed that. So, or my kid needed that, the parent said that. So I know that for some of us, I have gotten a few messages that just said, yay, I needed to see another face, so thank you for not canceling. It's kind of hard to do this. Christy, Kate, y'all know that I am the extrovert. This is not okay with me. I need you guys feed me. Yeah, I see Amy doing that too. So what all have we been up to? Well, you obviously can see that I am in my cubicle, but Region 14 is indeed closed. People have said, well, can you come up there? What's going on? So I just kind of wanted to catch you up a little bit. This building is shut, locked, done, but from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. any day that somebody here at the service center needs to run in, get something from their office, etc., we can do that. We have to leave a little sticky note on our cubicle letting the cleaning crew know that we have been in the building and in our cubicle, and every day after 2, they bring those big flu guns and things and come through. However, the service station is still in business. And so what that means is we don't have kids coming in. We were supposed to have gone out to 4 campuses this spring and done 2 days apiece at those campuses. We had kids that were supposed to come in, but we got the call. We knew we could do it, but we got the call that said, can you help join the Abilene Mask Task Force and help supply all of our medical people and our first responders with protective gear? So what you saw to begin with this morning, we have been busy making face shields. This particular face shield takes a little over, well, about an hour to make, 50-something minutes. We can do 2 on one of our machines at a time, almost 2 hours to print this. On a good day, we have 3 machines running and 6 printing, and every 2 hours we're changing out filament. So if you come by and see my car, Hillary's car, Sean's car up here, it's because we're busy every single day trying to deliver. On a bad day, we've delivered 10 of these. On a good day, we've delivered 20 something of these. The plastic that you see here is, we started out cutting old transparencies. I sent out an all call to our secretaries in the building and said, if anybody has transparencies, give them to us. We will use the Glowforge to cut them. Kudos to Sean for working on both of these files to be sure they were what we needed to have done. But then we got the call from a doctor's wife who said, my husband wants to know, if we get you the anti-fog plastic, can you cut anti-fog plastic? Because when they put these things on and they look down to help, like to stitch up somebody or to sew something, it cuts off the airflow, and they were fogging up on them. So we said, yes, bring us that anti-fog material. That material is thicker, it's coated. We put it in the Glowforge. We have a little steam stuff going on, but that will take about 23 seconds per sheet to cut. So by the time we load, put it in, etc., cut 2 to 3 a minute. So we're pretty busy all day long between answering emails and trying to do Zooms and things, being sure we're printing and cutting plastic. We've taken all of the fabric, and I washed and dried and ironed all the fabric that had been donated pre-COVID-19 to the service station for our kids to make pillows with. And then Hillary has been cutting our pattern, and it's taken me about 5 or 6 iterations to come up with one. But we are in the process of also sewing between times as well. What I really love is we tried hard to involve our kids. So Hillary sent out an email to all of the teachers that had brought kids to the service station and said, if your kids would like to think a first responder, we would love a video from home. And I think we got like at least 30 videos that Hillary has put in a drive. We have a QR code, and then this little thing is attached to every one of these masks that anyone gets, and it just says, thank you for risking your lives to save ours. Scan the QR code for a video or thank you from any kid at Region 14. So it's attached to every single one of these. I make a drop off every day of what we have done, and one of the doctor's wives gets them, and I make it analogous to Mod Podge. I don't know. She pastes this stuff on it so that they're sealed and can be cleaned, and then they are delivered. We know that they have they started out going to Abilene Regional Hospital. From there, they went to Abilene Diagnostic Clinic, where those people who are swabbing people that need tests have one to wear. And then from there, one of the doctors at Hendrick asked the doctors at Regional, can we have some of them? And then they also went to the Aerovac Life Team here in Abilene. And it's fun when they take a picture and they send it to us, and they still keep their tag on there, and we appreciate that. We are not alone doing this. You've probably seen on the news Tiger Boats is doing this, that our team that's teachers at Adams and teachers at Wiley are doing this. I reached out to Clyde and Eula's tech directors. Today I'll get 30 more from Eula. The service station has delivered 165 masks at this time, and we just keep going. We don't get up here as early as this place opens, but Hillary and I will, and Sean, roll in here sometime, one of us every day around 10 a.m., change out print filament, keep things going, start cutting. I'll try to sew a few masks, then we go back over, and then we're answering email, and we're doing whatever Zooms we're on, etc. And then we leave about 3 to 4 in the afternoon with our new supply and take them and drop them off to make the delivery. So that's kind of what we've been doing. Also, I wanted to share with you, because several people have asked us, well, how do we find any resources that you guys have? And together we put a cheat sheet together and then made a website for you. So I want to share my screen again and show you. Let me bring my little share buttons back up here. And I gotta make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to, don't freak out. Let's see right here. I'll go here first. All right, so this is what we've been up to. And on my share screen, I want to have that guy. If you go to the Region 14 website, can everybody see this? Give me a yes. Are we good? Y'all good? Okay. So when you go to the Region 14 main website here, you will see COVID-19 instructional resources. And if you click instructional resources, CTS, that stands for Center of Technology Services, Digital Innovation, Remote Learning Resources here under Classroom Instructional Resources, it will launch for you our website. And we tried to organize between things to help you communicate, things to help you teach, help you collaborate, and help you assess with your kids. So all of these icons are linked. You'll have information here for different resources. We tried to keep it relatively simple. All of the categories, if you go to communicate, yay Sean for thinking of how to organize this better. Documents we've collected are accessible at the top, and then other resources in the drop-down menus. On the home page of this particular site, at the very bottom, we have a link that says, and I'm sorry about the scroll craziness, submit additional resources for this site. If you come across something you think we need to share with everyone else, please fill out the form and let us know, because we can get that updated for you. All right? So that's what we've been up to. Let's see. Now, we want to know what you've been up to. So here's a little task. I asked you to keep your phone nearby. You're going to take out your phone. You're going to open up your Photos app. You're going to choose one of the last 5 pics on your camera roll. Click on it, hit your little forward button, and email it to hmiller@esc14.net. Yes, Hillary's about to get spammed. Bless her little heart. If all works well, if everybody was in here at the exact same time, she would have about 60. But we know people are going to be jumping in and out. So give you a few seconds here. Find a picture of what's been going on around your house. I know you've either taken a picture of your food, or your dog, or your cat, or your kids, or the crazy, maybe even a picture of you in a Zoom meeting. Who knows? See if you can find yourself a picture moment here. And go ahead and send that to Hillary. There's her address. And how we doing? I'm looking around to see if I get a response that everybody's gotten theirs sent. Hillary, are you getting any emails? I can hear her over there. She says she's starting to get some. I'm going to leave it up a few more minutes because I see some of you are still looking up and down. She says she's gotten about 9. I know we could do more than that. She's going to keep refreshing her screen. How we doing? What you got over there, Hillary? 22. Okay. Now I need Sean's help for a second because I don't know what I did to my Zoom controls. I can't find them. I can't stop sharing my screen. They're hiding from me somewhere.
Hover.
Where?
So hover over the top of the.
Yeah, but I hit the hide button earlier because it was over my tab. And when I hover up there, nothing pops down.
Okay. Let's see.
I'm going to go ahead and keep sharing my screen and talking because, you know, this is the typical thing. We're going to have little technical issues, and I've got too many screens up here probably.
Chrissy,
But
if you hit Alt, it should show up.
Alt.
Yeah.
Let me find Alt. Is that Luke? Who was that? Vince?
That was Vince.
Alt, nothing is showing.
Try hitting Escape.
Try hitting Escape. How about we just keep going while I'm playing? Back to another thing we've been doing. I'm going to keep trying to go with it, but I'm thinking Escape is going to escape out of the presentation. Here we are. Another thing to notice is hashtag R14 COVID-19 can't touch this. Not just what we're doing, but what you guys are doing. We are diligently every day, Hillary's on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, trying to find all the positive posted about Region 14 schools. We have tried to repost something from every single district in our 42 school districts. So if you are on Facebook and you're logged in the search box, search for hashtag R14 COVID-19 can't touch this. If you are on Twitter, search for R14 COVID-19 can't touch this. And if you're on LinkedIn and you're logged in the search bar, search that, and you should be able to find. We know that there's so much more out there and that you guys are bending over backwards and trying to do things for your students, to do things for your parents, to do things for each other as teachers. I know that we had some administrators to sign in this morning. We have consultants just bending over backwards to do things for you too. And so we want to spotlight anything that you're spotlighting about what your kids are doing, what your administrators and principals are doing, what your teachers are doing. You know, pat a friend on the back down the hall from you that's doing something really cool with their kids and you post it. Please add that hashtag R14 COVID-19 can't touch this to help do that and to spotlight each other. That's where we actually have positivity happening. I'm going to keep going, clicking through here, and I have a few of you randomly have logged in. So if y'all, I know you've all heard about Zoom bombing. I did not block this where y'all would all have to knock to get in, all of that good stuff. However, if you see something inappropriate or someone jumping in, I did give Hillary co-host rights to kick people out. Y'all just let me know because I can't keep up with all of you at the same time. All right, so I'm going to keep going. The first two posters you see, I have taken from AJ Giuliani, printed them off and put them on the window outside my cubicle behind me back here, these two white things that are in the window. Warning, we don't have all the answers. We're still asking questions. We can't give you a magical formula. We're still experimenting. We can't offer an app or a system or a program because real change happens from within. The bad news is there is no instruction manual for what we're doing right now, but the good news is there's no instruction manual. We're all just making it up as we go, and that's one of the things that I think is great about the Compile group of teachers. That's why you guys jump into Compile, is because we don't know. We don't always let data drive our decisions. Sometimes we make decisions that drive the data. So with that thought in mind, I want you to give yourself grace and mercy in this time. Moments like this when I don't know what I just did with my controls and they're gone. But we're very thankful that you guys have not given up. The green one I took from Brian Aspinall. He's a coding friend of mine. I think it's fair to eliminate the I'm just not very techie from our vocabulary. It is no longer an option. And there are teachers who have been kicking and screaming about anything tech related that have jumped off in some capacity. And that may be one or two of you, and that's okay. So kudos to you for trying. You know, we're in the Zoom platform right now. The majority of our districts are working in the Hangouts Meet platform. And businesses have been running full speed ahead, trying to keep up with the needs we have. A lot of people have never done online classes before in any capacity, whether you're using Google Classroom or some other platform to share lessons with students. That's a big deal. And so instructionally today, we wanted to give you a few tools that might help you in that moment. But I also wanted to remind you of something else. Remember this? Remember this moment? Remember when? Last spring, we had a compile called Rebrand School. I think we looked at it from the perspective of Rebrand School, the Chick-Fil-A, and Domino's Way. And one of the things that has been a huge recommendation for people throughout this particular time we're going through is that we need to be able to tie back or to spiral our lessons or to not give kids too many new things without touching on older things or things that they are familiar with, to slowly build. Like we started out with, keeping our pulse on what's going on with people. So for example, this morning, it was kind of funny when I asked you about your band name, but what was really important to me was the very first or second word you used when you talked about how you're feeling. That was important to me to know, because we've talked about in Compile over and over and over again that you cannot get to Bloom's without going through Maslow. And so in this particular cultural time that we're in, that's a huge shift, we need to keep a pulse on that first and foremost. The second thing we think about is spiraling back through all of our content and going, okay, what do I need to build on? And in the case of Compile, last spring, we had no idea when we sat down to hashtag rebrand Compile the Chick-fil-A and Domino's way, that we would actually have the greatest opportunity since probably the beginning of our current educational system to rebrand schools. We had no idea we'd have the opportunity that we have today, 1 year after we had this huge discussion. And the Domino's crew did a lot of focus on the EduProtocol concept. What's a Domino's protocol look like? What could we frame our lessons around? But I remembered that the Chick-fil-A group really focused on the culture. They had a lot of discussions about having a cow and creating a culture of we, and how creating the culture first and changing it could help change a lot of the perspectives on the educational realm in our schools. And with that thought in mind, I think about, I don't know about you, but I feel like there will be a lot of changes coming in education. We can't go back. People say, this is not the new norm, this is the new abnorm. But I don't see, and maybe I'm completely wrong, how we can go back to everything the way it was prior to this moment. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I really have a hard time noticing that we can go back to that way. I'm trying to look through once again, I'm trying to figure out my controls. I'm also trying to look through to see, I'm going to ask a few people who you are, just because I am taking your role and attendance on this, and if I don't know. So I see Shayla Miller, she's my Shay up there. Joe Heiss, I've got that. L Robe, is that L or I? I can see your face almost.
It's
Hey.
L.
It's L? Okay.
Yeah, it's Laura.
Laura
Roberts.
Robe, got, okay, cool. Let me get that in there. Let's see, I see. Who is 151 ICGC036? Can I unmute you and ask you to tell me who you are? Who is this? Who is that person? Jill Dennis? See, yes. I don't see a chat window. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jill. And then let's see. I see Anita, that's A Wheat. Who is MCP? Who is that? MCP, can I unmute you? Hi, MCP, can you tell us who you are? Hello? Okay. Maybe not. Mary Perkins. Okay, Mary. Thank you. I'm going to mute you again. All right. Just 1 second right here. I'm getting a text message too. Is there someone else trying to get in that needs in? Hillary, I can't see my chat. Can you see if somebody is trying to get in? Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes now. Is there anybody who wants to talk about a little bit what's going on about the culture that you're seeing? Let me know what you're thinking right now. Give you a few minutes. Who wants to jump in and tell me what's going on in your world? I will point out, I'm going to put you on the spot, Erin, for just a minute. Where's Erin? I see your face. There you are. I'm waving at you, but you can't see me because I can't unshare my screen. So Erin is our resident veteran online teacher. And Erin has been teaching with our, the official name, I have it written down over here because it's on my roster. Your official name is Texas Online Preparatory School. I always called it K-12 Online Learning. I think you're a principal or assistant principal there. You've been a teacher there and a part of Compile for at least 5 years. And one of the things Erin did reach out, and she loves this group of teachers and these group of educators. If you need assistance in creating and figuring out ways to make online content relevant and to figure out ways to do delivery, she's been doing it a long time, and she'll say, I think people are finally figuring out teaching online classes is not easy at all. And so anybody have a question that they would like to throw out to Erin? It may be in the chat window too, because I can't see that. Hey, I just clicked on something. I don't know what it was. Y'all watch this. Hey, I can see y'all again. I'm so excited. I am so excited. Okay, I don't know what I clicked on. I really don't. I think it's because it's probably been on the other side of my other monitor. Sorry. Technology. So yes, Luke had told me I can now see escape and alt. Yeah, that wasn't working for me, and I couldn't see. Luke said use a hammer. Okay, excellent. Y'all are awesome. Okay, so nobody wants to talk today or tell me anything exciting. We're waiting just a minute. Somebody's trying to get in. I got a text message, and that person wants to talk. That's my surprise for you guys. A quick little surprise before we go on. And I got the message. So I just wanted to open it up. Cynthia, you look like you're about to say something, are you? No? No? Hey, Irby's over there. Irby, I'm going to mute you for a second. Irby is probably our current furthest Compile participant. Where are you quarantining yourself right now, Irby?
I'm at home in Chandler, Arizona.
Chandler, Arizona. Awesome. Other than Irby, is there anyone in here? I see from our district list here, I think there were about 14 or 15 districts online. You may see some of your coworkers you didn't know. I'm going to go ahead and mute Irby back and ask, let's see, Luke, I'm going to unmute you because I know you guys have been working on printing too. Tell us a little bit about what Wiley has been doing to help with our medical peeps. I can't unmute you. Can you unmute you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so, we started with the same deal you were showing earlier. Well, actually, I guess if you go back, they emailed us way back at the start of this, and we're trying to get us to figure out a way to use robots to help deliver medicine to patients in the hospital. And when they called me, I told them all I really had was Legos, and I didn't really see how that was going to work. But our high school group has the VEX equipment, and so they got together. They all went over to one of the students' houses that Saturday, and they ended up making this robot that would push in the carts at Hendrix, I believe is where that was at. So that was pretty neat. It was kind of neat to see those kids that had been in my class. We do a lot of this Innovation Day projects that we got for Don Wettrick, and to see kind of one of those things come to fruition. But then we went over and started working on the face mask. Some of the same kids. Some of my kids have their own 3D printers at home. And so these were the kids that got involved, the high school teacher, myself. What I found out about 3D printing on my part, I bought fairly cheap 3D printers, and so they don't work real great. And so for every 1 or 2 finished products that I would get on that mask, I'd mess up about 10 times. So I don't think I have quite the printers y'all have up there. And so they're doing that. And then I also got emailed the other day about, I think it's from Roscoe, where they're doing making some masks, and they need help on that. So I know we have people working on all 3 of those projects. A lot of this, like I say, a lot of students have their own 3D printer. They're working at home, making them. So it's just been pretty neat to see those kids be successful. So.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I know that as the news has spotlighted a little bit of that, and y'all, our 3D printers, like I say, 3 of them going, it's great. I get it, Luke. We have the Axiom, which is if you've ever been to our space, it's really tall, and you know that that really tall one should do bigger 3D prints, but he has been ugly. He'll do 4 prints and then the code crashes and it'll stop mid-print and we have to pull off sticky, yucky, tar-like stuff, and it's been restarted. And then I've told Sean, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. Come up here and change the G-code. You fix it. You do something. I can't. I'm done. Mom is done. Dad, take over. Can't do it. I know that we have also dealt with issues like today. Our favorite one, I love our plug and play MakerBot that you really plug and play, but it hit the bottom of the extruder and now it's telling me there's no filament, which is not true. There is totally filament there, and that's a big issue for me. So, you know, we have those things and we work through them. Now I'm going to pause because we have a couple people that have joined, and one of them is our friend Ben. Ben, can you hear me? I'm going to tell you that since we talked about hashtag rebrand school, the Chick-fil-A and Domino's way, that there's Ben. He's all masked up from, you know, it's the whole take it off thing. And by the way, if you want to click to in your little view at the top where the speaker is the person that shows up big, you can do that. So Ben, we want to know a little bit about, I mean, we've been talking about the school culture here and what's going on and changing in education, but we know Chick-fil-A looks a lot differently than it did a few months ago. So how's the culture? How's the pulse? What's the self-care things that are going on at Chick-fil-A North Abilene? Our neighbors over there, I see the posters on the windows, and I wish I told Ben when I texted him, I said, I could see you through the window on your laptop. I so have not been a, quote, hugger, and yet I have been, except that you guys better watch out. Next time I see any one of you, I don't care who you are, I'm hugging you. I'm excited to see all of you. So, Ben, tell us a little bit about what's going on at Chick-fil-A.
Hey, thanks for having me in. Yeah, us extroverts are having some real issues right now, real issues. But the new normal at Chick-fil-A, I'm sure, I mean, everyone has a new normal right now. And so for us, we're just adapting to no dining room, adapting to new operational procedures such as masks and gloves and hand washing and sanitizing every 30 minutes. And it's on one hand, we're comforted that we can keep running and keep people fed and the Abilene community. On the other hand, sometimes it can get kind of scary. And so my role has changed from is still leading a restaurant to the best of my ability, but ridiculously unforgettable service looks a lot different. Right now it's looking like we're checking temperatures for every team member before they can even clock in.
Wow.
We're making sure that our team members are safe, that our guests are safe, because if we can't keep one another and our guests safe or feeling safe, then the ridiculously unforgettable service behavior that is our goal won't begin to happen. It can't happen. And so I've spent a lot more hours here in my restaurant just talking with people. I know y'all know this. Everything's just so fluid. And in a time where everything is so fluid and there are so many different decisions to be made and things can change at the drop of a hat, the call that I believe we have as leaders, that I have as the operator, is to continue to be prepared but not paranoid, to be cautious but not crazy. And to know that if we look back in this season and it seems that we've overreacted, then that's the goal, because that's what we want to ensure. because it should feel like we overreacted, because the last thing in the world we want to do is look back and say, we didn't do enough, and we compromised other people's health. We compromised our brand. We compromised, men and women in the community. And so other than that, I mean, we're rocking and rolling. Good news for our neighbors across the street is we actually got expedited to start delivering meals to people's homes and offices. And so singular meals. So if you want to place an order for a number one with a Dr. Pepper, you can order it on your app and we bring it over in a cooler.
Wow.
So that was something that we were hoping to do in June to start testing. And Chick-fil-A reached out to us and was like, hey, I think now's a good time to start experimenting with this. And so we have been able to start doing that, which has been awesome.
Yay. Okay, so I was thinking about, I figure I'm just assuming, and what you get for assuming. Irby lives in Arizona. He wants to know if you'll come down to Arizona, Chandler, Arizona.
I will start sending someone that way.
Oh, that's funny. Now, my thoughts were, I figured other Chick-fil-A's had to transition prior to the one here in Abilene that you had. So you probably had heard through corporate the possibilities coming. When you got that directive, I guess it's our mayor and city council that made that directive that would affect you personally at your store here next to the service center. What did that look like? Did you call a team meeting? Did you have to cut your crew? Was that something? Or how does that work?
Sure. So we were in an interesting situation. So with Chick-fil-A and much like many of you, there are so many different groups of people that could be affected, spread across, from Arizona to wherever, spread across the country, so to speak, and definitely the different regions that, you all oversee. And so similarly with Chick-fil-A, whenever, Mayor Williams made the decision to put the restrictions on restaurants, which we applaud. We had already actually done that, which for us, the navigating the waters for our team to explain to our guests in that season, and even for me to explain to our team in that season was challenging because we were erring on the side of being conservative. However, people weren't understanding. We're at the point now where our door is locked, so no one's coming in the dining room, but we can unlock the door and people still wouldn't come in. But that first week, because the directive hadn't been placed from, in our community, we had to put someone stationed out there just to explain what was going on. And honestly, it was a little concerning for some guests because they were like, wait, why are you doing this? And so it's all that to say is it's challenging to be on the front end whenever you make a decision that is in the best interest of the whole. However, we may not have been on the front end of that. And so whenever we were impacted by that, we had to navigate through. It was continuous meetings. Keeping the lines of communication open at all times in order to just make sure that we were making the best decision and ensure that our leaders knew what to say to guests and other team members whenever they had questions. So that was, but again, we were able to rest easy knowing that, okay, if we're going to err on one side, let's err on this side. Let's err on the side of being, of being more cautious, or as cautious as we can. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. What does that look like for I know you said when they come in, your employees are checked for their temperature. Is there any, and they have to wash obviously, and hand sanitizer, all the good stuff. Is there any protocol that after every order you do this, or after you do this, you do, have they gotten into a routine, I guess is what I'm asking?
Sure. So the 14 operational requirements that were just enacted last week, some of which, and again, this is a grace-filled time. It's so fluid that some of these things that we're putting in place, if it happens 95% of the time, then that's 95% of the time that is happening. It's real easy to say, there's this new rule. We have to be doing this 100% of the time. Well, it's hard. This is hard for everyone. It is such a challenge. I can't imagine some of the challenges that y'all are facing. The only thing that I regret in the season is not purchasing stock in Zoom, because I feel like we missed the mark there because Zoom has just blown up. But it's one of those things where we just recognize the hard for everyone. It's hard for my wife, who's trying to navigate teaching 3 children, and now we have another infant at home. And so not just teaching our children school while also pursuing her PhD and leading her classes at Liberty University, but she's having to teach our children how to work a computer. And so it's hard at home. It's hard here. It's hard for our team members who are coming in, who are trying to figure out how to do online school, and then they have to figure out all these new rules at work. But with that said, we're trying our best. The hope is to deliver food on trays and not have to, and to encourage as much contactless delivery as possible. And at the end of the day, does that prevent a lot of the spread? I think there's data to show, that it can be helpful, but it's not, it's not the main cause of the spread of this virus. However, customer perception goes a long way. And so our team members not wearing gloves outside while taking orders is not the biggest concern of all this. However, it does ease the men and women who come in or who come by who want to eat. And so it is safer than not wearing them. However, it also eases their nerves. And so for us, it's not just been enacting some of these, but explaining the why behind them. So the 14 requirements, there's a lot. It's gone from, even over the last week, we are supposed to be, we're delivering food outside the window on trays. We are all wearing gloves. We are all wearing masks. We are washing our hands and sanitizing the restaurant every 30 minutes. No one is allowed inside this restaurant if they, unless they are a team member and they're working. And so we're contemplating, do we split shifts? Do people work Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and other people work Monday, Wednesday, Friday? And so that's, we're just encouraging as much as we can to be as safe as we can. So.
Well, and I assume with the delivery part rolling out too, that will shift some of the responsibilities, and there's a protocol for that.
Sure, we've
I
been
think
thankful to be able to explore that without a dining room being open.
I'm the person that I make so many analogies from what you're saying to what we're doing in education, and you hit on something huge, which was the perception. Regardless, it's the perception. Perception of the parents. Are I still giving our kids work? Or are they having to teach it all? The perception of our administrators that we're actually doing our job and not just eating bonbons and watching The Price is Right. The perception of the students that we still care about them and that we're not trying to overload them with 20 assignments per day for every class and asking for a grade. And then the flip side of that the kids don't think they've gone on an early summer vacation. And I think that there's the tendency for a lot of us, and maybe in the restaurant business too, to jump to the negative first, or to jump to the extreme first, or, just like with Zoom and with Hangouts Meet, everybody said everybody's going to abuse it. If Zoom bombing happened to one person, it's going to happen to everybody. Oh no, we have to protect everything. If my Hangouts Meet doesn't close at a certain time, the kids will get in there and do bad things. And we jump to those extremes. But the reality is that's more about perception than it is about the reality. And in your case, regardless of if whether or not that's protecting everybody or not, trying to take care of that security, and like I said earlier, it's Maslow's needs. People feel safe. People are in a good environment before they can ever enjoy your food, and people have to be safe and feel like they're in a good environment before they can ever learn. And so I'd like to, I won't cut you off just yet. I wanted to ask if there's anybody that's listening that has a burning question for Ben, because he loves answering questions. And please, you can either unmute yourself or you can go ahead and type it, whichever way is more comfortable. But let me know. Do you have questions for Ben? What's going on? I hear something, but I have no idea if that's somebody saying something or not. Anybody?
Yeah, I just want to say, Ben, thank you very much for all of your standards that you have been setting, because I know personally that me going by there in the mornings on the way to work, I feel totally safe, or way safer eating at your establishment because of knowing you and the standards that you do hold, and making sure that the people that work for you continue to follow those. So I just want to say thank you. Don't know what I would do without my sweet tea in the mornings, because it's a staple.
It is.
So anyway, I just want to say thank you very much.
Well, it truly is. I mean, I know it sounds cheesy to say sometimes, especially right now, but it truly is my pleasure. And we, in the fall. So when did I speak to? When did I come over?
Last spring. Well, you spoke to the service center in the fall. Last spring, this group of educators received the video from you challenging them to rebrand school.
Right. Okay. So I may have mentioned this in the fall, but one of the things that one of our new directives as a company was to be the world's most caring company. In the fall, I don't know if I mentioned that when I spoke, because it was still rolling out, and it's just been very, very. It's been sweet in a way to see such an opportunity for us to be the world's most caring company. We had no idea this was going to happen. And that was a directive that was thrown at us, that the whole company was shifting to be the world's most caring company in the fall. That's our goal. That is our directive, what we hope to do. And who knew that this is, that this putting on gloves and wearing masks that look like bats would be, caring. Because if I told someone the other day, I said, if I could watch my video footage 2 months in the future, and if I could pull a video footage up of my team walking around and I saw everyone walking around in masks, I would probably just quit, because I'd be like, what is happening in the world?
Yes, and I can remember when we had our snow day back in February, and we didn't have school, and in Texas that's a big deal. It's like, woohoo, we got some snow. If you had told any of those kids, oh, don't worry about it, spring break, you can make it to spring break, everybody, even the administrators, I see Mr. Acevedo, a high school principal on here, the administrators would hold on to that moment. Yes, let's just get to spring break. If we ever said, oh, but wait, by the way, you won't come back to school this year, not physically. Everybody would be like, whoa, there's no way. And guess what? It's going to be this global pandemic. And yes, you're right. Christy Kate had never sewn anything in her life until pillows for little kids. And I'm like, I can do a square any day, all day, every day. I got this. And then when we were asked to help contribute these things, oh my goodness. Talk about, I am learning a whole lot. I broke 2 needles the first day I tried to start sewing. But those are the things that I've seen it posted to Facebooks and Instagrams that I think we as educators have to hold on to, because for a long time we felt like people think teachers get 3 months off in the summer and don't do anything, and that we should be paid very little money and that kind of thing. And as educators, we have felt that burden that no, you have no idea what all we do. And with that moment being posted on Instagram and Twitter and things have been the highlight of, when all of this is quote over, we will look back and realize it's not the actors and the comedians and the celebrities and the singers that we had to have in our lives. We had to have doctors, nurses, educators, delivery people, restaurants that would provide us with food, grocery store stockers and shelvers, and the important things. And there are kids today that when we reached out about 3D printing our, I don't know if I can see in the camera there, 3D printing our shields that we've been delivering to the hospitals, that they said, hey, I can be a maker and make a living. Yes, you can. And you can also run a restaurant and serve people. And the kindness that has come from this moment, I hope we never lose sight of that moment. Truck drivers, yes, for sure, that are delivering things. And it's been hard for the, let's see, Amy Coteras, it's been hard for our littles. They left for spring break, and then what? And in those hashtag R14 COVID-19 can't touch this hashtag that we discussed earlier, you guys, go and look at the teacher parades to say hi and bye to all their students, that they're driving through the parade routes, and that human interaction is way more important then all of those tests and all of that content moment that we have felt was the top priority. So I hope that I noticed somebody up here, Bethany, had said to you, Ben, we had a pickup order a couple weeks ago and appreciated the service and delivery to our vehicle. And I hope your employees realize that the fact that they still come in, the fact that they smile, that they've put those posters up on the windows, I notice those things. Like, it makes me feel like, yay, like Hillary said, not just that I feel safe that y'all are clean, but that y'all care that we're still coming. And other restaurants, I know that the Starbucks next to you has painted flowers on the window and it's put out little signs. And I think that moment of just validating is awesome. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, and we, like, our teachers, our administrators, the AISD, I've never been more proud to be a part of the Abilene community. So originally I'm from Raleigh-Durham,
Yes.
Wake County, and they have just, I'm not insinuating, we have some friends who are in administration there, and a close friend actually who's got us kind of behind the scenes a little bit of what's going on. And it's a mess. It's a mess everywhere. But Brittany got off the phone with her, and she's like, I've never been more thankful for our community and our educators and the way that they're responding in this situation. So, in much the same way, our girls, we just moved into town, and our girls were they were going to be finishing the year at Ward Elementary and moving over to Thomas. And we thought that we'd have time to say goodbye to teachers. And we thought that and all of a sudden, Brittany and I looked at each other and we were like, they're not even going back to the same school. And they don't understand that they're not going to be able to see their friends. And it's hard. It's just hard all the way around. And one of my, a lady that I follow on Instagram, because this is, how I learn all my things. It's just by reading things on Instagram these days. She encouraged me at the beginning of this. She was like, can we just all agree not to play the hardship Olympics? Because it's just hard for everyone. Like, it's hard that you don't get to go on the vacation that you had planned for 5 years to go on in a few weeks and you don't get to do it. It's hard that you don't get to go into work and you've been dying to go to work. It's hard for you moms and dads who are at home trying to navigate these waters of signing up for homeschooling, which you never signed up to do in the first place. It's hard to do these cyber meetings and to cancel things and reschedule things and to adjust to new normals. And
life is hard.
It's hard. But I do think the biggest loss of all this will be if we don't learn from this and learn how to care for each other and how to be kind and how to continue to serve one another, because there's been some really special things coming out of this quarantine, and you're seeing a lot of good things come out of it. A lot of people treating each other with honor, dignity, and respect, and that's my hope and prayers that we will continue to do that. That we would trust our leaders and authorities making the decisions even when it's frustrating, but that we will look for ways to serve one another in kindness. And so we may not always get it right, but I do hope we're able to move it forward some, so that when we get out of this thing, we're able to say, hey, there's been some good things that have come out of this as well.
That's awesome.